All right. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm on here today with Sean Evangelista, also known as Evan. So, Evan is a 20-year veteran of the U.S. Navy SEALs. He's a business owner, ski patrol member, artist, husband, among other things. Evan's experience in the military taught him the importance of teamwork, dedication, and resilience. During his time in service, he was able to work in small teams and face challenging situations with high consequences, which demanded quick thinking and precise execution. These experiences left a profound impact on him and helped shape his outlook on life. And after retiring from the military, Sean wanted to share his lessons with others, and he found a unique way to do so through his art and design. Evan's company, 30 Seconds Out, is more than just a t-shirt business, although he may joke that he simply sells t-shirts online. He uses his designs to spread his message to provide a voice for those who serve their country and communities. His designs are popular with firefighters, first responders, and special op teams from all over the world, and they become a symbol of strength, dedication, and perseverance. His message resonates with people from all walks of life, from athletes to investment bankers to skaters to adventurists. Evan's work is a testament to the power of art and design. Through his creative expression, he has managed to inspire others and share his message with the world. His designs are more than just clothing. They represent a way of life and a set of values. His dedication to his craft and desire to make a difference have made him an inspiration to many, and his designs will continue to spread a positive message of resilience for years to come. So I'm stoked you're here, Evan. Thanks for coming on, brother. How you doing?
Good. I'm bummed you read that because that's a lot to live up to. I'm just kidding.
I'm sure you can knock it out, man.
Yeah.
So hey, give us some of your background story, man. Let's talk about coming up and take us through your life, man. Of where you came from and how you got to Buds, basically.
Yeah. I think like my background story is it's not unlike a lot of the other, people that have come up through the pipelines and gone through selection courses. There's all walks of life that go through there, you know what I mean? And trying to when they try to like predict or try to like find the type of human being that will make it through military selection courses, um, it's mostly failure. Like they've come down with some like things that work, right? And that can sort of give some hint of prediction if this human being will be the person that can make it through like a very extreme pipeline of selection and you know what I mean. And
Mm.
it's not who you would think. That's the thing. It's not. It can be, but it's not. It's really generally not your person that looks like the athlete. They have the paper resume that looks like this person went to Yale. They were on the rowing team. They were the all-star quarterback, like
Mhm.
that template. And those are amazing accomplishments in and of themselves, right? Um,
Mm.
but going back, what I found when I arrived at Buds, and then I'll rewind a little bit. What I found was when I originally arrived there, when I first got there, I thought it was a mistake. Like I thought these people are all Olympic level or just below Olympic level, like competitive swimmers,
Mm.
triathletes, like big strong dudes. And so you take that picture, that's me arriving at Buds. I'm like, oh, I think I've made a mistake coming here because I am not these people, right? And I
Yeah.
could tell right away, like I was not that, but I did find my people. So going
Mm.
back, born in San Francisco, downtown, like literally downtown San Fran.
Mm.
My mom was a classical pianist and an opera singer, which is pretty rare actually. Like that's how
Yeah.
she's made a living up until this point. Yeah. And my dad, my biological father, was when I was young, he was a drug addict and an alcoholic who
Mm.
was had a lot of trouble holding jobs down. And so he walked out on my mom and I when I was just over 3.5 years old or something like that,
Mm.
right? He just literally just left. Like there was no like, hey, here's the plan moving forward. He just said one day I'm done and left the house and like walked out.
Mm.
And with him walked out a portion of the income that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom being a single mom at that point, all of a sudden, and trying to raise me, and but also trying to audition for jobs and get work, get income coming in,
Mm.
became really a full-time job and something that she started to drown in, basically. Like, she
Mm.
couldn't raise me, live in downtown San Fran. And so we were homeless, man. Yeah,
Wow.
we when he walked out, we lost our house. And
Mm.
my mom had me, and the low point for us was she had 75 cents, and she's at a payphone at a gas station in San Francisco, calling
Wow.
friends like, hey, can we crash on your, we just need to like sleep at your place tonight until I can get a job, or until I can find something else out. We won't be too long. And so this is her telling me this, right? I don't remember
Mm.
this. I was like 3.5 years old. I don't remember this.
Wow.
Everything after this, I remember.
Mm.
So this is her, like, telling me what it was like when Michael, my dad, left. And like, just to give a quick, I met him 31 years later, and he turned out to
Wow.
be a really great person.
It's cool.
So, but I'm gonna bury him and make him look bad really quick, right? But he actually turned out to be right, because he kind of deserves it. And I would tell that to him to his face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he knows that, and he admits that, which is good, because he's gone through his process, right, of reconciliation, and he understands, and he's self-aware, and he's an
Mm.
intelligent being. And so, yeah, we were homeless, man, and it didn't go well. Like, for quite a while, months and months and months, we were just like, she was begging for, not really begging, but sort of trying to like find us places and not overstay our welcome and kind of bounce around. And she got a job audition with some of like the folks listening or watching might remember Gomer Pyle, Jim
Yeah.
Neighbors. So, Gomer Pyle, like Andy Griffith show, he was like Gomer Pyle, like, and so he's actually a really, really accomplished singer. And he had a show in Waikiki at this, there was this dome, and some of y'all might remember this kind of one of those geodesic domes, kind of one of those odd architecture type things, but it was called the Hilton Hawaiian Village. And he
Huh.
held auditions, and my mom auditioned. But she didn't want to. Her friend said, you need to go audition for this. You're a great singer. You should go do this. She's like, I don't know. It's Jim Neighbors. Like, he's famous. Like, this is ridiculous. She auditions, and for a 2 week job with Jim, right? To do like a quick little show, right? Get some video clips, and that was kind of going to be it. So she goes and auditions with Jim. They hit it off so well. He offered her a full-time career at the Hilton
Wow.
Hawaiian Village in Waikiki. So we
Hmm.
went from basically like homeless couch surfing, like literally like how many like metal coins do we have in our pocket? That stage of life where like all you have the only way is up. Like we're at the
Right.
bottom. Like, we are rock
Right.
bottom, dude.
Right.
And she's like, what? And so we moved to Hawaii, and she starts singing with Jim Neighbors, and all of a sudden we had good income. Like, it was good.
Hmm.
And like that, something can happen, right? If you take a talent you have and you find it, have the guts to plug it in and expose yourself. My mom did that, and all these, I mean, there were a lot of people auditioning to work with Jim Neighbors, like a lot of people, because he had his own show. He basically owned the Hilton Hawaiian Village in downtown Waikiki. And
Wow.
so she took the job. We went out there, and it was a life-changing event. And then she met this guy. It was Ray Andretti,
Hmm.
and I feel very comfortable saying his name. And it gets dark here. And
Okay.
so we had this with this low, right? And like everyone, literally everyone listening or watching this, you understand the cycles of life. There's lows and there's
Hmm.
highs, right? The
Hmm.
lows never last forever, and the highs never last forever. There's always like this cyclical. So we were at a low, right? We hit that low, and we're like, are we ever gonna get out of this? She got the job with Jim Neighbors, even more than the 2 week job. He was like, no, I want you full time, because now that I see your talent, I want someone on stage with me to do
Hmm.
this. And so now we have this huge high, right? And so that was awesome. And then she met Ray,
Wow.
and they dated for a little bit, and everything was great. And so this was the pre-marriage Ray. Everything
Hmm.
was great. He's a local guy. They got married, and it was like Jekyll and Hyde. He switched. As soon as they got married, he became controlling. And not like in a lightweight controlling way, like, hey, I just don't like you being around other people. It was
Mm,
physically controlling to the
mm,
point where he just started beating her, like, because he's like, anyone that gets close to you, and he's like literally said, I will kill them.
mm,
Because she's up there with Jim Neighbors in the Hilton Hawaiian Village doing 2 shows a night. She's hanging out with like Carol Burnett, and so, but everything looked rosy, right, on the surface. Like she found something great that basically like let her show her talents, and her talents were recognized. But
mm.
so this guy, yeah, he started beating her all the time because I think he just, he had some, obviously, like some, mental struggles, or whatever he was going through. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah.
and it got really really bad while she was singing with Jim Neighbors, and Jim offered to pay for her and me to get out of Hawaii, and he was going to set us up in a house, and he's like, I'll get you to California or whatever state you want to go to, and I'll get you guys, I'll pay for your rent. Like, he offered literally to help me and my mom escape the situation.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they were together for, it was less than a year, and I remember just sitting in my bedroom just basically listening to him beat the fuck out of her, like, and you can hear it, like, it was just, I didn't have any earplugs or anything, and it was just, I mean, as a child, like, I was like, at that point I think I was around 6 years old ish, or
Mm,
6 or 7, and like I just remember just sitting there, just hugging a little stuffed animal, trying to, wonder what's going on. Like, I thought we were good, like, it's not good. And
mm,
one day we're having a huge fight. He grabs me and he throws me up on this table, like, or I'm sorry, it was the kitchen countertop,
mhm,
and throws me up there. And they were having some blowout. And at the time, I didn't understand what the argument was about. It was just always fighting and always him beating her. That's what
mm,
I knew. And so he pulls this kitchen knife out. He, just pulls this kitchen knife out of a drawer or whatever.
mhm,
And he's like, if you want to leave, like, that's great. We'll split everything in half, including him. And this is hurt. I don't remember. I remember being in the situation, him grabbing me and throwing me on the table, but I don't remember what he said. But my mom
mm,
relayed to me, basically was like, I'll cut him in half. And he literally had the knife, and I remember him like pulling the knife down, like he was gonna like cut me in half. And like, you take
mm.
half, I'll take half. How about that kind of thing? Because he was a psychopath.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and just a
Yeah.
extremely like insecure, dipshit, basically.
Yeah.
And so my mom grabs me, grabs her purse, and we run out of the house with nothing, get into her car, and just drive away. Like it was an escape. And so we just had like what we were wearing. That's literally what we left the house with. And
Mm,
then she only went back, I think, a couple times to grab a few things when he was at a like a manageable level. Yeah,
mhm,
we escaped, and we ended up kind of bouncing around for a couple years. Luckily, she had the job with Jim.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, she would work nights. Obviously, she was doing a couple shows a night. I think it was like most nights of the week. It was like 5 or 6 nights a week.
Wow.
It was a lot of shows, a lot of performance, because I mean, 2 shows a night, you're bringing in some income because they're filling seats on 2 shows a night in Waikiki. Like, they're doing it. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because, being in show business, you think like, oh, all these people are rich, life's gravy, it's all glorious, like there's no problem. Absolutely fucking not, man.
Right.
Like, that was it was a great like income, provision it provided for us, but we had this underbelly thing, and then Ray was like basically hunting us. And so she had a friend that hid us from him, and he was like literally going around to people's houses and calling people, trying to find us because he wanted to basically capture us and bring us back to his world of control.
Mm,
And luckily, he never got a hold of us. He never found us, and he gave up hope after a couple of years, basically.
wow.
Um,
Wow. A couple of years though. Wow.
yeah. And then I'll share some kind of some things here that maybe other people have been through. But my
Sure.
mom worked nights, right? And she would drop me off at houses for people that are like, yeah, we'll watch your kid. And like, um, some of those houses, not some, one of those houses I got dropped out off at regularly. there was an older kid in there. He was probably 6 or 7 years older than I was.
Mm.
And he would fucking molest me.
Oh man.
Yeah. Like I would get dropped off and that would happen. I'm like, what? Like, why is this happening? Like, and it was fucked up, man. Like really
Yeah.
fucked up. And so that happened. And so like I'm starting to build up like this sort of like my view on life was not good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, this is what life is like. Like life is fucking terrible. And you need to figure out how to protect yourself. And
Right.
and so that happened for, I would say over the course of a year, like, a lot over the course of a year. And then like we found some other people to watch me at night while she was singing, and that was better. And then she met like basically what sort of like the savior in my life at that point when I was 9 years old was she met Paul, my stepdad. He would become my stepdad. He was a sergeant major in the Army at the 25th Infantry Division, 25th ID in
Mm-hmm.
Oahu, and he was in the Army band. And before that, he was alert, long range recon patrol. He went to
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam and all that. But he got tired. He told me later on in life, he's like, I got tired of sleeping in the bushes. I just wanted to like play rock and roll and play music. So he switched over and started like playing bass. And he could play bass, trombone, trumpet, and like he could read music. Like he was a musician. And so he's like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go play music and stuff. So we met him. They started dating. Before he asked my mom to marry him, he said, I love your son. I want to adopt him.
Wow.
Like I want him to be in my life. I love him and I love you. And then he asked me, I remember him asking me, is it okay if I adopt you? And I didn't know what that meant, but I wanted to do it because I respected him and he was a good man. Like, and he was like a hero to me. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom asked me, is that okay with you if he adopts you? And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, and she explained it basically. And I said, yeah, definitely. That's okay with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he asked her to marry him, and then they got married. And we ended up living in Hawaii for a couple more years. Then we ended up going back to the Presidio. When the Presidio in San Fran used to be a military base, now it's
Mm-hmm.
like a national monument, or I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's not
Something
it's
like
not a
that. Yeah.
military base anymore. Moved back to the Presidio and lived in San Fran then for 2 more years. And then we ended up moving to Georgia. He went to Georgia and then retired in Georgia. And then we ended up moving to Maryland because they both got jobs up in Maryland. And we went up there and I joined the Navy out of Maryland. And that whole period between like, I had a really, really bad experience. Like this is my life had definitely a lot of good positives, but a lot
Yeah.
of the negatives that come in that kind of form the person that we become and the person that we have to deal with ourselves, right? Because we become a
Mm-hmm.
person and we have to deal with that person that we become. And sometimes we have different ideas about who we want ourselves to be, but we're not that person yet. And so how do we get there? So the
Mm-hmm.
person that I became was being formed in those years. We moved to
Yeah.
Georgia, joined a scout troop, and I thought, scouts is going to be awesome. And it was awesome. And there was a pedophile in my scout troop. And I'm literally like, what is the deal with these pedophiles? Like, why do I keep running into this? And I went through that for about a year and a half with this dude. And I've been so I'm involved in like a class action lawsuit with the Boy Scouts of America right now. But yeah, he was a pedophile. He didn't have any kids. He was there in the organization in Peachtree City, Georgia, to get close to kids. And he would bring us to his trailer and get us lubed up on fucking Jack Daniels and Cokes. And first time I ever got drunk in my life was in his trailer, and I got alcohol poisoning. He gave me a Jack and Coke so strong, like I got alcohol poisoning. I started barfing. I
Mm.
got sick while he had me in his bedroom, was trying to have his way with me the first time. And then it would go on camping trips. And then I don't know why I didn't just all of a sudden leave, but I was just really little and I didn't understand. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And so that started forming who I was becoming. And
Mm.
basically for me, I lost trust in people in positions of authority.
Mm.
Men generally, just generally men, adults. I wasn't afraid of women. I was afraid of men, not necessarily afraid like I'm gonna run away, but absolutely lost trust completely.
Right.
And so we ended up moving up to Maryland, and like from those experiences in life, and there were other things too. Like I'm I'm paraphrasing big time here.
Yeah.
But and at the time when you're young, you don't have the tools to understand how to reframe things. Like, how do I not just have a victim mentality? How do I
Right.
how do I look at my life from the positives as well as the negatives? Like, you're not thinking like that when you're 11 years old.
No.
You're
Oh,
like,
no.
at that point, just the negatives seem to like override my mentality and sort of drive my thinking.
Mm.
And so what Pop represented to me was, he was someone that was a good man. He was in the he was in the military. He was strong. And
Hmm.
so I started reading books about people that I thought had strength that I wanted to be like, and people that
Yeah.
were protecting other people, because I knew what it felt like not to be protected a
Mm.
lot. Like, I was
Yeah.
like kind of really over it, man, like really getting to the bottom, honestly. And so I started reading books about commandos in Vietnam, and Navy
Yeah.
SEALs and Marine Recon, and like
Yeah.
Lurks and
Yeah.
Rangers, Green Berets, and I was like, these guys are heroes, and I just latched onto that. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, this is what I want to be. Like, these guys are out there, like, protecting people. And if you just remove the politics from all of it, right? Just take the
Yeah.
politics out. Picture a 13-year-old, 12-year-old kid that just
Hmm.
wants to feel protected and feel like they're part of something good and not everything's bad. And that, to
Yeah.
me, was like what I gravitated towards. And
Wow.
Pop, he absolutely did not push me to go into the military. I
Yeah.
just was like looking at things, because I would go into the bookstore and like, Pop's in the military, and I would immediately go to the military section if we were like in a mall or something, and I would just
Yeah.
start looking for books on like the special operations guys,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
helicopter pilots like Chicken Hawk in Vietnam. And so those kind of became like my sort of like a fantasy, an escape for me.
Yeah.
Like, I could picture myself in that position. No one fucks with these guys. Like, they're strong. They're out there rescuing people, like doing the right
Yeah.
thing. That's what I want to be like. I want that. Like, I don't want to do
Yeah. Yeah.
the stuff that's been going on in my life before that. And so, yeah, we moved up to Maryland, started high school in Maryland, and I found climbing and snowboarding.
Huh.
And I joined a search and rescue group in my freshman year in high school up in Maryland. And it was an explorer search and rescue. And the explorers are like a branch of the Boy Scouts, but they're not like the
Yeah.
Boy Scouts of America.
Huh.
And I was like, a little trepidation going in there, like, okay, I'm gonna suss these people out. Like, who are the men in here? And
Yeah.
I went in there with a keen eye on, like, my spidey senses were up, trying to feel out if there was a predator in here. And
Ooh.
there was. And so I just started like hanging out with these people. They were older kids that were like seniors in high
Mm.
school my first year. And they were climbers, like they rock climbed. They went to a Knowles course, like Alaska mountaineering. And I'm like, holy shit, what is all this stuff? I love it. And I just started learning about it. And then I started climbing and got
Yeah.
way into it. And I was like really stoked on it. But it's not as though I had all of a sudden become like unaffected by the things that happened in my
Right.
past. I know
Yeah.
pretty much everyone here can relate to that. Like, you
Hmm.
can't escape those things because they're always hovering and kind of haunting you. And when you're young and you're in high school, like, I wasn't seeing a therapist because I never told my parents about any of this. There
Right.
was no therapy. There was no introspection. There was no, self-analysis. There was no, hey, what's your perspective on how life really was? Like, let's,
Mm.
look at the positives, negatives. It was just, all this bad shit happened. I don't want that to happen anymore. I just want to
Right.
move forward. Forget about it. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. And like, just sort of like encapsulate it and make it go away, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. And as you know, it doesn't
No.
work like that. It's way
No, it just yeah, it just waits and it sits and it festers for this has
wrong.
been my experience.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that geez, what a story, man, so far. And your mom, as you said, like taking that chance out there in Hawaii, like, and then I like look at the parallels with your own story of like now you're gonna send it too and take a chance and go to Buds in San Diego.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
I also like think like something that was profound that you're talking about was like the stuff that's going on behind the scenes in people's lives. Like we have no idea. And I'm here like as a cognitive fitness coach, I've been around a lot of people over the years. And I can tell you right now, everyone's got something going on. Everyone's got something going on. And I think it's important to remember that we just try to offer a little more kindness to each other throughout the day in and day out. And yeah, man, that's what's up. And I just think it's amazing that now you're taking this, the things that have happened are driving you towards not just like being amongst protectors, but now you're going to become the protector. So now you join the Navy and you're going to Buds. Did you go right from like the MEPS to San Diego, or how's that all work? Or you got to go to boot
No,
camp?
so like in high school, like I was a mess in high school. Like, I really bad. High school, I barely made it through high school. I'll say that. I got into fights. I got suspended all the time. I was threatened with expulsion a lot because I was doing drugs, drinking in school. I mean, I'd roll into class with a screwdriver in my hand, just
Mm,
telling them it was orange juice because I was self-medicating. I was numbing
yeah.
myself, numbing my mind to just be somewhere else and feel good and not, deal with the present reality of what I should really be feeling, you know.
Mm,
And so I didn't know when I graduated high school that day, I graduated high school, I didn't know if I was going to do one of two things, but I did know I was going to do one of two things. I
mm,
was either going to go for the SEALs and just try to make it through Buds because I was like, well, out of all the Marine Recon Green Berets, for some reason I just graduated. I gravitated towards
mm,
the Buds thing. Like, can I make it? I'm not sure. Or
mm.
I was going to move out west because at that point I was climbing a lot in high school. I even went to France and climbed while I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I'm like, either going to go climb and like snowboard out in Jackson Hole and out west, or I'm going to go for the SEALs. And my parents sent me to a Knowles course. I asked them to. I'm like, I want to go to
Uh-huh.
Knowles Alaska Mountaineering, 30 days in the mountain range. And so they sent me there. And when I arrived, I still didn't know. 2 weeks into it, I'm sitting on the Chugach Glacier one day, and I'm like, I'm going to go to the Navy. I'm going to go for Buds. I'm going to try it because the mountains
Yeah.
will always be here. But this selection course, if I'm going to go for it, I need to do it now while I'm as resilient as possible. I'm 19 years old,
Yeah.
made out of rubber, basically. Like I can just go forever. And I'm like, now's the time to see if I can make it. And if I don't make it, I'll just move to Jackson or some mountain community and start climbing and
Yeah.
snowboarding and whatever. Because at that point, I wasn't skiing; I was just snowboarding.
Yeah.
And so I decided that. And then we got back off the glacier, right? We get back to like the Knowles base just outside Anchorage. And I literally go to a Navy recruiting office and I'm like, okay, ready to join the Navy.
Take
I
me
can
away.
literally go today and go to the Navy. And they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, little buddy. Like, where are you from? Like, well, I'm from Maryland. Like, well,
I
we
got
can't
my toothbrush with me.
recruit
I'm
you.
ready to go.
You're not an Alaska state resident. So you have to like go back to your home of record, right, where you actually live, and you have to enlist there. And I was so bummed. I was like, okay, I'll go back to Maryland and I'll go and I'll enlist over there. Okay, fine. So I go there and they're like, okay, what do you want to do? Well, I want to go to Buds. Okay, everyone wants to go to Buds. What do you really want to do? I really want to go to Buds. Okay, so what about medical? Nope, don't want to do it. Okay, and I actually did really. If you look at like my high school, like what I did in high school academically,
Yeah.
and my ASVAB score, they don't make sense. My ASVAB score was fairly high compared to what I did in high school. They wanted me to become a nuke. They're like, you qualify for
What?
nuke. And so, like, do you want to be a nuke? I'm like, absolutely not. I want to be a SEAL. So finally, I got them to agree. I signed up with the dive fair program, which is basically I agreed to enlist for 6 years, and they would promise on the contract as long as I don't have an alcohol related incident and I pass all the tests, physical, academic, they will keep me on the pipeline and I will go to Buds. So I signed it, went to Buds, and yeah, going back, I arrived there and I was like, oh fuck, look at these people, man. Like there's these dudes there, like there's like men there, like literally like in their late 20s and early
Yeah.
30s. They're shaving every day, 5 o'clock shadows. I just said these dudes have beards. And I'm like, I'm shaving like, once every week or 2 weeks. Doesn't really matter. I'm like peach fuzz. No one fucking notices. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I'm just here. I'm just gonna go for it and then do my best.
Yeah.
And I did it. I made it. I made it
Yeah.
in a 6 month shot, and I ended up graduating like
Amazing.
number one in my buds class.
No
But if you
kidding.
like,
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah, if you look at like where I was in high school, like, dude, I was fucking going to Grateful Dead shows, doing drugs,
Right.
being a fucking complete shithead. Like, just like, I'll be like in school, what's the minimum I
Right.
got to do? I literally went into the guidance counselor's office and asked him, what are the most amount of days I can miss and still graduate? And he told me the number, and I just went one day less than that and just didn't go to school. Not
It's
because like
funny.
I didn't understand, I just didn't want to be there. And like
Yeah,
I was not
I
in a
get you.
good spot.
Dude,
Needed direction.
I totally get you, man. Like we're like just like the last guest I had, JT Frank, like you and I are like long lost brothers too, because I had to go to school for 2 hours late every single day my senior year in order to make up time just to graduate, just to get out. Because I just didn't want to be there. I would just leave. I would just leave and go smoke dope and drink beers in the cemetery or whatever, because it
Yeah,
was
yeah, totally.
more fun than being in class. And then
Yeah.
yeah, man. And then, yeah, going into the military, it's like you and I met at a special warfare command going through a selection and training process. And before we go any further, I just want everyone to know I'm not a Navy SEAL. I never went to Buzz. I don't need Don Shipley coming after me or nothing about stolen valor, right? I was a CB mechanic and I did direct combat support, and they allowed me to go through some training so I could hang out with
Okay.
guys like Evan.
Yep.
Yeah, so but that's where we first met. And it was literally like I said before I hit record, it was almost 20 years ago at this point, which is amazing, man. Like time flies, right? Now we're doing
Yeah.
adult things. And
Yep.
yeah, man, I just think it's really funny and kind of peculiar that like, I don't know what folks think out there in the public if they think that like you were saying, like maybe it's collegiate athletes and Harvard and Yale grads, even though there are some of those sprinkled throughout, like the people that are doing the special operations and such. But for the
For sure.
most part, it's like the island of misfit toys. It's where the people that couldn't fit in anywhere else just got like a bunch of grit and have about zero fucking quit in them, and they
Yeah.
just keep going and going and going. So I think that's just so cool.
And kind of one thing, like, like like bringing it down to like the mission of your podcast is my mom was like a, I would say, like, I don't know, for lack of a better term, a person of mindfulness. She really
Mm,
was. She had been through a lot. Like, I experienced what I experienced when I was young with her, and she experienced it as an adult. Like, literally, she was the one getting beat. Like
mm,
she was going through it herself. I was watching it and listening to it, which has a different type of mental effect. But
mhm,
she became a very like self-aware and curious person. Like, how can I make myself better? How can I calm my mind down? And
mm,
she would like kind of hint those things to me as I was growing up, but I always brush it off. Like, I was like, nah, 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 mom, you're just like,
mm.
this is like woo woo crystal stuff. I'm not doing any of that. Um, I'll get back to that later, but it actually made a lot of sense. And like, it
Right.
planted those seeds in me early on, even though they didn't come to fruition for decades, literally
Yeah.
decades, until I
Yeah.
started to really like stop and start meditating and start
Mm,
doing like breath work. When people would talk about that stuff, I used to think like, what are these people talking about? They're just, when I was young, I was like, you don't need any of that. You just need to like go for it. You need a bunch of coffee, a bunch of
right.
motivation, and we're just
Right.
gonna do it. We don't need to sit around and
Yeah.
think about our thoughts, and because
Yeah.
that's the basically the immature like
Hmm.
person that's using energy and action to get through things, right? But you're
Right.
missing a lot of the pieces as you go through that process.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. That put a dip in and suck it up type mentality. Right.
it does have its use, right?
Yeah.
It's one mental tool in a toolbox of mental tools.
For
It's
sure.
one tool out of like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's in the toolbox, 45 tools, right? It's one.
Right.
And it
Right.
does have application, but if you would try to apply that, basically let's look at that as a hammer. If you have
Right.
a toolbox, that phrase, you've got a toolbox full of hammers, every solution, every problem you see, the
It's a
solution is a
nail.
hammer,
Yeah.
right? And
Every problem's a
it
nail.
just
So just hit it with the
doesn't
hammer,
work.
everything
Yeah,
you
it
got.
doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah,
doesn't
but
work out.
it takes a long time to figure that out in life, for
Right.
real.
Right. It
You
takes a
know,
lot of falling on my. It took me a lot of falling on my face over and over and over, And
Yeah.
even through my journey of sobering up and getting sober and coming up now on 16 years without a drink and going through the therapy and going through treatments and going through mindfulness and meditation and breath work and getting into ultra trail running and all this stuff, I'm still like a work in progress and still learning every single day, just how to be the best version of myself is really what I'm trying to do here, what we're trying to do. So yeah, I mean, you got out of buds, you get into the teams, and you start to work. What was that like? It was awesome,
What
right?
was at that point? It was the '90s. There was no war going on. There was some stuff going on, like in Kosovo and in Serbia and like that jam. But I wasn't at a team that responded to those things. So every once in a while, you'd hear about something through the grapevine. Guys did something, but it was basically kind of benign. There wasn't a lot going on in the world as far as our job description, right? Like there wasn't a lot for us to do.
Mm.
So we moved to Hawaii. We were living in Fort Island, or the command was in Fort Island in the middle of Pearl Harbor. It was actually an island in the middle of Pearl Harbor. And we were living in base housing, and there wasn't a whole lot going on. So we ended up moving up to the North Shore, up to Haleiwa, and bought a little condo there. Actually, we bought a condo there for $70,000 in Haleiwa. Like right now, I think that same condo, I looked it up like 2 years ago, was worth like $380,000 or $400,000, right? We're talking like, dude, like 1996,
Yeah.
And we moved to the North Shore because I just wanted to surf, because I was like, well, if we're not gonna go anywhere and do anything, we're just doing the same training. We're doing run, swim, runs every morning and all the basic training. I'm gonna go surf because I'm looking for something more. Training for war is great and everything, but surfing it drew me in hard. So I moved up there, lived there for 3 years, and then I got out of the Navy with my wife, and we had my son at that point. And I got out, had broken service, where we ended up moving to Colorado, where I'm at now. Actually in Ouray, Colorado right now, which is, if people don't know where that, it's like the western slope of the Rockies, kind of near Telluride. Where like Telluride's just 7 miles as the crow flies, right over there. Nice. And and then moved to Colorado, and then that lasted for a year, and I was like, it was 1999, coming to 2000. I'm like, I'm bored. I want to get back in. My wife's like, okay. So we ended up getting back. I got back in the Navy, went over to the East Coast, and got to SEAL Team 4. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna, I had 6 years in at that point. I'm like, I'll just do my next 14 years. Probably nothing great's gonna happen. I'll just like try to work my way through the ranks and retire at 20 and go figure out something else or whatever. Then 9/11 happened. But right before 9/11, I applied for one of those officer programs, the Seaman to Admiral program, and I actually got it. I got accepted. And 9/11 happened, and then I called and turned it down.
Yeah.
And because I was like, there's no way I'm going to go to college for 3 years. Because if you don't have any degree, like the Seaman Admiral program is like, they give you 3 years to get your 4-year degree. Like you're going to go and be in school constantly for 3 years. Then you're going to come back and you're going to owe us, whatever years for being an officer. And I'm like, there's no way we're going to war, and there's no way I'm going to not go with my bros. Yeah. And so turned that down, and then didn't go to war at all. Just sat around, went to a South American deployment. The guys were going out. Afghanistan kicked off first. Some of my buddies were in Afghanistan. We're all pulling our hair out, right? Because they're going to combat. And that's what we wanted to do at the time. Like we trained for war. That's what we want to do. And then ended up, screening in 2003 for Dam Neck and, the top tier team, and ended up making it into there, made it through selection. And that's where, me and you met in selection. And then there was a whirlwind after that. And what I found was just picture the person that you were, right, in 2003, and the person that you were in the 2013s, 12s, like later, like a decade later, like we're completely different people. Like way different, as though we have just worked at a corporation or something. Like absolutely changed in every way imaginable. Really, I mean, very different people. And so just the things we experienced, and you see so much carnage and killing and bad, like just everything's negative. And after a while, we get numb to it. Like you're numb to you're numb to combat. You're numb to seeing people blown to pieces. You're numb to seeing, people shot next to you. You're numb to seeing just constant like tragedy, like, and yeah, a lot of, it was enemies that we were killing, but still at the end of the day, just seeing human beings killed all the time, like it gets to you, man.
Right.
And the tough guy that, I was in my early 20s was a shell of toughness, right? Like I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be this tough person. And so, we just zipped through a decade of war, let's say 8 years of combat. Right. For me, it was like straight 8 years of nonstop. Like we're back home, right? Then we're back in deployment and combat. And it was like every deployment was a combat deployment after 9/11. Every single deployment was it was on. Yeah. And so, and then I ended up coming to the end of my career and very different person and a little bit lost on what is going to happen next, because they're not really hiring people that kick doors in and fight Al-Qaeda, unless you want to be a contractor. And I absolutely wanted to avoid being a contractor because I needed to figure out something else to do, because becoming a contractor, in my perspective and for the direction that I wanted my life to go, was basically doing the same thing that we were doing while we were active duty, just get paid more money. And there's less resources, and in a lot of ways, a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, I was just saying, you probably don't have the overhead assets,
Yeah, no. Right. So my first, the first time that I meditated was when I went to NICO. And NICO is the National Intrepid Center of Excellence. And it's basically, it's up at Walter Reed. It's literally across the street from Walter Reed Army Hospital. Yeah. And for those of you who remember, like watching the news in the 2000s, that's where all the soldiers were coming back, all the trauma, the guys getting IED'd. You saw Walter Reed all the time on the news, right? That's where everyone came back to. That was the choke point for the casualties coming out of the conflict zones. Yeah. And I went there, and when you're at that point where you're no longer just a young kid who's like, you think you're King Kong and you're going through the world. You've King Konged your way through a lot of combat, and you've seen a lot. At that point, you've matured a lot. And at that point, I knew like I need something else, because, slamming whiskey is not cutting it anymore. It doesn't work. Just drinking, because that was the culture of the military is drinking. You can't smoke weed, you can't do drugs. So what do? We fucking drink a lot. I mean, a lot, right? And so I went to NICO, and that was the first time where they're like, we're going to do, I had been to yoga probably 5 times-ish over the years, with my wife, I'd go. And I never left a yoga session going, that was a bad idea. Not once. I always felt better. And then I was like, meditated. I was like, okay, I'm not really sure I can sit there for that long. And got out. And for me, I knew I needed to find peace. But for me, it was a location. And I still believe that. It is, a location can definitely change your life and your mindset for sure, where you live. Like, if you're living in downtown Detroit and you hear shootings every night and sirens, your stress level is going to be up compared to living where I live now. You're at Colorado. I live at 7,700 feet in the San Juan Mountains. It's a very different experience. And I would pick this place every time over a big city, just because that's me and that's just what I want to do. There's opportunities in big cities, but in order for me to be healthy, I wanted to leave Virginia Beach and go to the mountains. So I moved to Sun Valley, Idaho, and I'm like, I'm just going to go skiing. I have no idea what job I'm going to do. I'll figure it out. I was willing to do anything to work. Like I started chopping trees down and driving a 30-ton crane when I got to Sun Valley.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on the 30 Seconds Out. It's like the Stoke blog or something. I saw like your first job out of the military. You were cutting trees. You're a lumberjack. I was like, look at this dude, man. Good for you, man.
Just running saws and driving a crane. And making $20 an hour. And that boss I had, Pat Rainey at Alpine Tree Service in Sun Valley, literally one of the best leaders and bosses I've ever had in my life. The guy was awesome. Really? He was amazing.
That's saying a lot too, man. You've been through all the SEAL teams and everything,
Yeah, he was amazing to work for.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then from there, so I mean, I also, so you skied a little and such, but I mean, certainly I didn't think you skied enough to get on like ski patrol and in Sun Valley and all that. I mean, were you at that level, or what did that take?
No, I
And
didn't.
how did that all
I
come
had
about?
been on skis before, like in Alaska, towing sleds, but we
Yeah,
weren't
yeah,
skiing. All we were doing is like pulling sleds on skis. We weren't
yeah,
like downhill skiing. So when I got to Sun Valley, I could only snowboard. I didn't know how to ski. And so I started out in the wedge, right? Like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like
yeah.
what we call pizza, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
where
the
I'm
old
at.
phrase like
Pizza, pizza. Yeah.
if you point them straight, this is called French fry on the bunny slope.
Hmm.
And if you
Hmm.
French fry when you're supposed to do pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. Like, this is faster. This is
Yeah,
breaks, right?
yeah, yeah. That's what
And
I
so I
know.
started. Yeah, I met a dude there who's like he's actually like a level 3 now. He's a level 4, like PSIA, like international skiing standard instructor, like very good.
Yeah.
And I think to hire him like out of pocket is at least $600 a day.
Wow.
But I met him and he was on the tree crew and he's like, dude, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go try to figure out skiing. He's like, just I'm gonna meet you. Let's go. And basically he just took me under his wing, didn't charge me shit. His name is Waylon Barrett. He's
Nice.
fucking awesome. And he got me to skiing with my skis pointing because he's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, I'm training to be on ski patrol. He's like, we got a long way to go. I'm like, I know. Let's get to it. You know, like we gotta get on this, man. We're
That's
wasting time
amazing,
here.
dude. That's
And
just
so
amazing to me. Like, it blew my mind when I was like, wait a second, Evan's on fucking ski patrol in Sun Valley. I'm like, I didn't think he ski. Like, I didn't know you were a big skier. Just like
no,
I didn't know you were an artist, man. Like, I didn't know any of that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
then I was like, wait, he's got a t-shirt company and 30 seconds out and all that. Like, it's amazing, man. So
those are those outlets. Yeah,
yeah.
outlets.
So talk to us a little bit about 30 seconds out. Like, tell us, like, hey, what does 30 seconds out mean to the uninitiated? Like, what
So
I
like
know what it means.
yeah, for sure. So like if you're a first responder or military, so like whenever you're like, let's say you're flying in a helicopter towards some objective or you're in vehicles, right? You get like the 10-minute signal, and then the next signal is actually 6 minutes. And it's either like this, which means six, or it's like this. But generally we do this 6 minutes, then 3 minutes, 1 minute, and then 30 seconds. And this isn't 30 seconds. This is 3 minutes. So that's 30 seconds is the skull crusher. Like you're like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
like I'm crushing your skull, right? And so I'm like, I linked up with a buddy of mine, Jan, who runs the Violent Little Machine Shop, and after the tree service thing, and he was making military patches. He basically showed me the ropes of like e-commerce and like kind of building the brand, and so I was like, well, I'm going to call my thing 30 seconds out because it's a placeholder name for the business that I think I'm going to basically try to start. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but it stuck. People actually liked it. And so
Yeah.
it was just literally a placeholder name, but it stuck. And so the idea that I like to bring forth is some of the like the lessons learned that the taxpayers put in for me and you to go
Mhm.
overseas and do stuff that the government told us needed to be done. And
Mhm.
so there's a tremendous amount of like upside, like positive sort of mindset things that we got over there. There's a lot of negatives, but there are also a lot of positives.
Yeah.
And so the thing that really resonated with me was when we were operating at the tier level where we were at, there
Mhm.
wasn't like a whole bunch of support above us as far as coming to help us. We had a lot of air support, we had tons of assets, but when
Yeah.
we go to targets, whether like I mean, at the end of the day, I think I've been on 5 hostage rescues.
Wow.
There's no one else coming, and so like this idea of like no one is coming, it's up to us.
Yeah.
It applies like it really, yes. We had that situation in the military where we knew that like when we go on target, like there's not anyone coming in time to make any effect on saving our
Right.
lives. Whoever's coming is going to come. They're basically tallying the body count. Like by the time they get here, the thing
Mhm.
is over with. And first
Yeah.
responders, like cops, firefighters, your paramedics out there, your EMTs, like even business people, you can relate because when things are happening, like they're clipping really fast, like you're in combat. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
call for help, the firefights generally for the most part, they don't really last that long. They're kind of quick. Whoever gets dead gets dead. The other people run, and that's kind of the end of it. But the idea of people coming to save you was sort of like, they're not coming to save us. They're going to come here as the mop up operation. You
Right.
know, basically what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's staying. I mean, the first thing that struck me, of course, is just the company name, 30 Seconds Out. But then I read that of no one is coming, it's up to us, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh man, and like, yeah, it made me think of that of like being out there and being cognizant that you are the solution. You know that you're the solution that they sent, and there's
Yeah.
no other solutions coming. But then it also transitioned now, like in a different aspect of my life, of like no one's telling me to get up early in the morning. No one's telling me to do this breath work. No one's telling me to do my gratitude journaling. No one's telling me to do meditation. No one's telling me to go for a run later. No one's there to hold my hand. None of this stuff, all of this post-traumatic growth I've got, and all of this recovery, and all of this wellness, and all of this me optimizing my human performance is up to me, because there's no one coming. There's no one coming to save me. It's completely up to
Yeah.
us. And that's just
Yeah.
like, I love it, man. And there's more too. I like all the same, like hope is not a good plan. I've used that before. Like, you go,
Wow.
like, I probably wouldn't hear that within special operations, but when I got back to the conventional forces, there was a lot of hope. There's a lot of people, well, we're hoping this will happen, sir. I'm like, hope? We're not relying on hope. We're trying to set
Yeah.
ourselves up for success.
Yeah. And with that one, I have had people say, like, what's wrong with hope? I'm like, hope is awesome, but it should be the absolute last thing you have after like doing the best execution you can, pulling your resources, getting the best minds to solve the problem. You've done all your due diligence, and
Right.
all you have left at the end of that is hope. Okay, you've done a good job. But
Yeah.
if you're like putting hope above all that, or somewhere in the middle of your due diligence, hope is
Right.
at the bottom after you've done all of your due diligence and all the hard work it takes to make something execute as close to perfect as you can get it, or your team can
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
That's what really matters. And if all you're left with is hope, then okay, hope is not a good plan, but it's all we got now. So yeah, sometimes hope is all you got. It really is, but it's
Right.
not part of the planning process. Hope should not be part of the planning process.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very well stated. And then like some of the stuff I see come out now is like expect to self-rescue. I really like that. And again, it falls back onto like the no one is coming, it's up to us type stuff. What else you got going on? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, one thing that like the mentality like of doing meditation and doing breath work.
Mm.
Um, my mom would talk about that stuff when I was little, but I always wrote it off as, because I was a young, but I'm
Mhm,
King
mhm,
Kong, I'm young and nothing can touch me. I'm, indispensable. But every person that I have been in really fucking bad situations with, or
yeah.
people that I know have gone through a lot of heavy things, they tend
Mm.
to be very mature people. They're very introspective, and they're very aware in a
Mm.
way where they know they can look at someone that's just beating their chest and go, yeah, I was there. That's a facade, dude.
Right.
That'll work for a little while, but really becoming sort of like, I guess you're just becoming a mature man to go, okay, when I was at night, go, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm actually going to listen to this lady who's telling us
Mhm.
what meditation is. And then, they don't just go, hey, we're going to meditate. Everyone start meditating. They give us like a list of scientific resources of how this
Mhm.
benefits. And it really does have results that science has measured, and that like
Absolutely.
it actually does work. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, if science, like this has been studied, I'm in, I'll give it a go. And it took me a
Yeah.
while to do it, but it does begin to like get into you, and you start
Yeah.
to like look forward to it, that calmness of like meditating. And then
Yeah.
the breath work thing I didn't find till like, it was honestly like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was Wim Hof. Like I found some
Mhm.
like, I think someone texted me like a video, like, check out this Iceman dude. He like sits in ice baths and he's like doing this breath work, and there's all this science, like, and he's going to like literally just going to labs and going, oh yeah, I can, defeat, what I think they injected him with, It was like, I don't know if it was botulinum
It
toxin.
was botulinum, or I wanted to say E. coli, but I don't know if it was E. coli. I don't know what it was. It
Yeah,
was
they
in
injected him with
the
something, and like he was doing his breath work during it. And this
yeah.
is like a third party, like scientific, like they have no reason to like pump this guy's jam up with his brand of like breathing, right? They're just like, yeah, we're gonna prove you wrong, dude. No one beats this shit, and he did. And they're like, okay, well, maybe you're an anomaly. Like, let's see if you can get other people to do it,
Yeah.
like just everyday people. And he's like, I think he brought in like 10 people or something. I don't know, that might be the wrong number, but and he taught them the breath work, and then they injected all with them, and they all did it too. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Okay. Again, I was like, okay, science. All right, I'm gonna try this. And then
Right.
started doing the breath work and started meditating. And really a part of the struggle that I had with it was not wanting to be a weak person. Like not
Mm,
wanting to admit that I had to meditate, not wanting to admit that
right.
I was doing breath work. Like, no, I drink whiskey and I lift weights and I'm strong and nothing affects me, right?
Right.
Which is bullshit. But that's sort of like the person that I pictured that I should be.
Right.
It's not reality.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like why it's important that we have these conversations and we get these messages out, because there may be somebody somewhere that's like struggling and also has that same mentality of like, man, I don't want to do that foo-foo woo-woo bullshit. I just want to drink whiskey and and put a dip in and suck it up. And then when guys like you and I and others out there, like I don't know if you're familiar, like John McCaskill is another big mindfulness meditation guru. He's a retired Navy SEAL commander. And
Nice.
when it's us talking about like, no, man, like this shit's legit. And like you said, it works and it's proven. Functional MRIs will show that we can literally change the structure of our brains for the better through simply sitting and having a soft focus on our breath, like maybe twice a day for, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 minutes at a time.
Wait, you're doing
And
twice a day? I'm only doing it once a day.
oh, dude, you're way behind. You need to
Like twice a
you need to
day?
catch up, bro. Yeah, I levitate at this point, man. I'm like,
Shit.
yeah, I'm a twice a day guy. I do it once in the morning and once at night. That's just me, though.
But do you do it
That's
at
how I
night
roll.
before you go to sleep to calm your mind
Yeah.
to slow the gears down?
Yeah, just to like yeah, just to slow down. And I also like I've been doing journaling too. Like I do like a gratitude journal, but I like switch it up every now and then instead of just journaling like things I'm grateful for, like journal like here's something positive I saw today, or this was an amazing thing I saw
Yeah.
today. Just to like you're talking about, man, like to focus on the positives, because it's easy to get caught up in the negatives. We have a negativity bias of the mind that wants to keep
Yeah.
me safe.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
Totally.
I can show you the negatives all day. Like that shit pops out like nothing. It takes work to really get ththose positives and not just to recognize the positives, but really to savor them, to really take them in, as I say, let them sink into your bones. And
Yeah.
yeah, man. So it's just so much better place for it, and it's consistency too. I'm a big believer in again, randomized controlled trials will say the same, that consistent practice. So it's better to do 10-minute meditation a day than say, oh, I'm just going to go for 45 minutes on Sunday.
Well, it's the
So
same thing with running.
yeah,
Like
like
if
anything.
you do a 50-mile run every Saturday, it's not
Yeah.
as good as if you break those 50 miles up through 7 days of the week. The
Hmm.
adaptations are much greater by
Yeah, yeah.
spreading those workloads out as opposed to the like three huge events a month and I'm training for this big thing. It's like not the way to go. You want consistent everyday things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And just over time, I mean, I'm also very comfortable over time that knowing that my practices and what I prefer will change. So I don't want to get too like I don't get like as consistency is important, but at the same time, like if my practice starts to fall flat, I used to feel like guilty of like, oh, why am I not sticking with this? Why have I switched it up to this thing? And now I don't even question it. I just do whatever
yeah.
whatever my heart tells me I want to be doing. As long as I'm doing something, I do about 3 things every single day towards my wellness. And yeah, so far it's working, man. I feel pretty good. Yeah, man, cool. Well, freaking great
One thing,
conversation. Go ahead.
dude, one thing that really did like get me to start believing in that sort of the path of mindfulness and doing meditation and breath work was Tim Ferriss books. So I
Mm,
read 4 Hour Work Week first thing, and then he had Tools of Titans, and you start looking like at what all these like very high performers, like extremely successful people do, And I want to say it was like in the high upper 90 percentile of these massively successful people, they
Mhm.
all meditate. And
Right.
when I read that, I was like, well, I'm like, if these people are doing it, I should certainly be doing it because I am nowhere near their level. Yes, I've done some things like SEAL team stuff, but the level that they're on, like they're building like massive companies
Yeah.
and they're extremely intelligent. I'm like, I'm gonna do what those guys are doing. And so that was another step because a lot of times the onboarding process to get a whiskey drinking, truck driving, you know, machine gun toting dude to meditate and do mindfulness, it's not going to be one thing. It's going to take years to
Yeah.
like get like someone like me to realize that that really is the intelligent way forward. But it takes a
Yeah.
long time to get the ego to like pack your ego up in a little box and like set little buddy on the side. It's like, it's not your time right now, buddy. Like you come in later, but I don't need
Yeah.
you all the time, you know?
Right. And then I think it's also is like since it's like delayed gratification with meditation and breath work. Like you're not like you may feel a little bit relaxed like right after it's done, but then that goes away and then you're like, okay, well, what was that? And but to start to really feel the effects for me, as I say, like off the cushion, that took about 90 days for me until I started feeling like, wow, I'm actually feeling a little happier and I'm less stressed out and I like I want to talk to people more and and I'm friendlier. It's like, wow, this is
Yeah.
amazing. So
And
yeah,
a lot
hey,
of it, a lot of it
go
too
ahead.
was you got to go.
No, 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 go ahead.
Okay. A lot of it too was I would hear about the meditations things, but I get sometimes bogged down in logistics or like the actual physical process of it. And so I was
Mhm.
like, okay, meditation, think about nothing. I don't know how to do that. Let me try it. I can't think about nothing. I can't meditate. And so like like how do I do it? It seems so hard. But eventually I got like I honestly like mentally wore myself down like reading meditation blogs and how to do it and think about nothing and
Yeah,
like I read enough of them to they're like you just need to just sit there and let thoughts come, but don't hold them, let them go. I was like,
yeah,
well, I can do that. Like
yeah,
I can do that. Like that
yeah.
I can't think of nothing, but I can let thoughts come in. Don't dwell. Let them and just let them drift
Hmm.
off. Like let them just go. And what I started noticing is it builds a lot of mental endurance and it
Hmm.
builds tolerance during the day for problems that come up. So the first problem that comes up, like everyone, like, right, you get up, you do your morning routine, you check your email, boom, first problem, I got to put a fire out. Like, right, here we go. Right.
Yeah,
But those things used to eat me alive. I'll be like, what in the fuck? God damn it. Fuck my life. Like it would get me into this mental state where I was like raging.
yeah.
Whereas now it's not like that. Now I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, cool. Yeah, I can handle that. Like it's good. And so like what I've found that meditating has done, and I've only been meditating now for a little under 2 years, I would say. And I'm
Awesome.
doing it about 15 minutes in the morning. And some
Yeah.
days I miss for sure.
Hmm.
But 15 minutes is good for me
Yeah.
right now. I've done an hour, but I like to do like I do some Wim Hof breathing, then I get up, then I meditate, and then I do like a yoga, like a 20-minute
Mhm.
yoga stretch thing. And it's such a good morning routine. And then I go climbing or skiing.
That sounds
And
awesome.
it's yeah, it's like helped tremendously with everything in life because what I think like meditation, if I were to like describe to someone what it does, is like picture your brain as like beef stew. You're just stirring beef stew. There's like meat, carrots, potatoes, a bunch of other shit. You don't know what's in there, right? And basically, meditation is like it takes out the potatoes and like it makes a bento box out of beef stew. You got
Yeah.
potatoes, carrots, the meat, the celery, the spices, and it basically like and it creates order of the
Mm.
day and like the chaos starts to like come down and
Yeah.
once I started like getting that it's not like some amazing feeling you're like oh my god like you just took some major drugs but it's like this very satisfying feeling like wait my life is not total chaos I can attack these problems and I can kind of see them in order of how I'm going to like engage with
Yeah.
these issues that need to be handled and it
Yeah.
breaks everything out to like bite-sized pieces that you can understand.
Yeah, it feels to me like what you're describing is kind of like equanimity is what I would call it, where you're not being pulled so far in either direction, like you're kind of like just calm and settled,
That
and
makes total
things can
sense.
come and things can go, and something comes in, and rather than it stimulates the amygdala and you go right into fight or flight, you can chill out. You're more
Right.
calm. You can engage your prefrontal cortex, and you can handle this in a rational, wise decisions and actions. So I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Before we get off today, though, I want to talk to you about projects you have coming up. I know what sparked me to like, oh, I need to reach out to Evan was I saw a preview of a film coming out. Are you able to talk about that or?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So these I got hit up by Evan K and Kyle Romanek, and Kyle Romanek he was one of and he was on the project for 5 years. They did a documentary called The Biggest Little Farm, and it's like got a bunch of awards. And yeah, it's an amazing documentary. They filmed the documentary over an 8 year period, and so they hit me up because I think they had like seen my website, and Evan K, who's his partner, I had met him like 30 years ago.
Wow.
And so, and they were friends with my mom. His parents had known my mom. So there was a connection there where he knew who I was. And so they hit me up and they said, "Hey, we've seen your podcast that you've done a couple of those and your story. We just think it's interesting." Number one, the people think the SEAL story is interesting, right? They're just like, "Oh, you're a SEAL. That's interesting." Okay. But then they were interested also in like you were a ski patrol and now you're training to become a mountain guide. I'm taking like I'm
Mm. Uh-oh.
was like, I'll do like a short story with you guys. I mean, there's a lot of things I won't talk about from the military, side, but we can talk about the other parts of my life, and we can talk about some military things for sure. But there's
Right.
most of the things I won't discuss. And so they're like, yeah, totally fine. And so they came out and I don't think like I think they had an idea of what the story would be until I started like telling them about what my life was really like. Like I just shared
You're like,
growing up,
oh,
and they were like, "Whoa, that's a lot, dude." I'm like, "Well, you asked, so I'm just being honest, man. Like I don't know, And I think I want to tell that too because like other people could be in that situation right now, literally,
right.
and in that situation, like and so someone else has been there. You're not alone, man. Like really,
Yeah.
like other people have been through some bad shit as well. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, they were like, we're gonna do a short, 15-minute thing on your life. And I was like, well, that's like that makes my ego feel really great. But also I'm like, I'm honestly really like I'm really like don't like attention. Like I
Mm.
really don't like it. Like I'm sure you're the same way where I'm just like, I just want to be like gray man. Like I don't want people talking to
Mm.
me or like ask me about being in the teams. And not because I think I'm elite or anything like that. I'm like, I just don't think I'm special. Like everyone else
Mm.
struggles. Everyone else has done amazing things. Like, started amazing businesses or been through amazing things in their life and overcome a ton. I'm no different than anyone else. But I'm like, okay, if you want to hear my story, I'll tell it. And if people like it, then they'll watch it. If they don't, then they won't. Okay. And so, yeah, they did a 15-minute short. We submitted it to the Telluride Mountain Film Festival, or they submitted it to the Telluride
Yeah.
Mountain Film Festival in May. We find out in the beginning of May, like in the beginning of May, all submissions, they get told whether you're in or not. And then they
Okay.
submit to the Year 8 Mountain Film Fest. And it's just a short clip. It's almost just a teaser because
Yeah.
there's so much going on. Because basically, like, hey, I'm going to describe someone's life in 15 minutes. You can't describe anyone's life in 15 minutes, right?
Right.
There's a lot more going on. And
Right.
so there's like some follow-on projects that they see some potential in. So I'm like, do a short film. That's cool, and see how it's like. As long as I'm not compromising my the things that we did in the teams, and I'm not
Yeah.
exposing that. You can talk about my life. That's nothing's classified about my upbringing.
Right.
So
Right. Right. Cool, man. Well, hey, we are running out of time here, and this has become like I think this is going to be my closing question for guests. So here goes. If you had a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, metaphorically speaking, that would get a message out to millions or even billions, like this podcast will do, what would it say and why? And it could be a few short words or a paragraph. It could even be a quote from somebody else.
Mm.
That's a big one, huh?
I would, the answer I give now would be different than the answer I would give when I was 22 and like wanted to be a pipe hitter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think nowadays what I would say is kindness and grit matter.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love it.
kindness and grit. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of strength to be kind. It's so easy to just go, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. I'm gonna punch you in the face. Like fuck this, fuck that. Like it's easy to do that. Like that's just like you said. That's our default setting. It's just like fuck
Yeah.
you, fuck that. Like aggression is so easy. It's like right there. But like, how can I like not be aggressive? It takes more thought. It takes like, you know what? This person, like, let's say you've been bullied at some point in your life in high school, or whatever the fuck. But if you look deeper, like, why is this person bullying people? Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not just an asshole out of nowhere. Yes, some people are, but the vast majority, they're going through or have gone through some things in their life. And, it's the hurt people phrase. And
Yeah.
so, like, can I be kind to that person? Yeah, I
Right.
probably could. If they're shitty to me, it's going to be really hard to be kind to them. But that matters, but also grit matters, and like grit will carry you through a lot of things in life, whether you're going through a special operations selection course, writing your first book, getting up on stage and speaking, or trying to start your own business or making a promotion at work. Grit matters. Just stick to it, man. Like, just sticking to things and riding it out when no one else cares and a long periods of time go with no accolades, but staying on the mission that you believe will carry you and other people to a more positive place. I think that's important. Yeah. So yeah, kindness and grit. I like that.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome, man. Probably see it. Maybe we'll see that on a shirt or a hat or a sticker.
Yeah, we just like a cool have sticker.
Awesome, man. Evan, or I say Evan, Evan. It was really
Yeah.
good seeing you today, brother. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And hey, if you want to find out more about what Evan's got going on, check out 30secondsout.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
30secondsout.com. I wasn't sure if it was .org or .com.
Yeah.
Cool, man. It's good seeing you. And I'm going to push stop on this.